there guys, and welcome to another status update on a few tweaks and fixes that I did on my desk. As you might remember, there was a pretty big mess of cables, so I was working on a fake bottom for the desk to hide the cables underneath. I finally got around to do that, and I'll let you guys see the result. As a disclaimer, I have just cleaned the glass inside and out yesterday. And yeah, I mean, it looks like this when you go close by. It's just, trust me, it's impossible to keep tempered glass, any kind of glass top really. It's impossible to keep it squeaky clean for long. So yeah, get ready for a lot of cleaning if you do a project like that.
First of all, I did the new support for the graphics card. As you can see, I have a little, I built a small support that screws into the holes at the riser cable, so that gives the whole front side support. And I also did a support for the back side that supports along the card itself on the PCB where there's no circuitry, just along the edge. It supports the weight all along that side, and it screws at the hole where you would normally screw it to the case if it were in a normal case. So this is a lot more stable than the makeshift little supports that I had before.
As you can see, it took quite a bit of planning, figuring out the gaps that I had to cut out, which holes I needed for the cables to go through. So yeah, a whole lot of measurements, a whole lot of planning, drawing, drilling again and sawing again. I went with thin piece of MDF because, well, it doesn't need to be that sturdy. It doesn't take much weight on it, to be honest, and it's cheap and easy to work with. So that was the best alternative. And also, if I ever need to get a new bottom for it because of replacing components or wanting to do water cooling or something, then it's really cheap to replace. It will cost about, I don't know, 10 euros or something to get a whole new panel to cut and work with. So yeah, that's very reasonable, I would say. I shall let you see what the result is. As you can see, there's the holes for the motherboard connections, and here, well, there's a bit of a glare, so it's not easy to see, but there is a lot less cables, as you can check. I should probably have done this video yesterday when there was no glare. Hold on. Okay, this is slightly better. As you can see, there's a lot less wiry mess. Still some, it's inevitable. I mean, I do need wires going through to the actual components, but it's a lot less. And yeah, I'm not working with custom-made cables cut to length and whatnot. So yeah, I am limited with the standard sizes that they come on. So yeah, there's always a bit of extra cabling to go around. I managed to hide most of it under the bottom, but yeah, there's always I could also have made a hole at each of the hard drives and SSDs to make it, you know, neater. But yeah, as you can see, in most cables, see that little rubber sleeving, let's call it, that's usually to prevent the cable from bending too much at the connectors and one of the connectors getting loose and basically the cable not working anymore or shorting out or something. But yeah, it does not help when it comes to bending the cable. Where's a good alternative? Yeah, like here for example, it does not help when it comes to having the cable be flexible enough to make it neat, and yeah, so yeah, I had to go with that limitation. Something else that went wrong was that because of the shape of the desk, as you've seen in previous videos, and because of this edge that I built into the desk to hide in the future a LED strip, because of that I had to do the bottom in several sections so that it would actually slide in, as opposed to just having one whole portion and just letting it basically fall into the desk. So that made it more difficult and also made it less neat. Now, what you are seeing now is not the final product, let's say. Like in some places it's quite neat, like here, as you can see, but then there are sections, like for example here, as you can see, part of the bottom sunk and under the other, or well, more like this part rose up, and then same story here. So yeah, I will have to make that a bit neater. But it's just a matter of putting a few more screws holding it down because of the pressure of the cables under. Because for example, the motherboard to the PSU cable, the power cable, is quite thick, and with all the cables in there, makes it so that the room that I have in there for the cables is actually not quite enough. But I also could not make it higher because of the height for these fans here. I could make a cutout around the fan and make it higher, but yeah, it's not super, let's call it. I have to work with what I have and, well, learn for the future for the next desk, obviously. But in any case, this came wrong for 2 reasons, and I will put it back together neater and better in the future when I open the desk again to clean it. But for now I was just very tired of this for a couple of reasons which I will list, which is number 1, and that is a factor throughout the entire project. This is my one working computer, let's say. I don't have a backup computer to, you know, do whatever while I'm busy putting it together. So it's like when I open it and I disassemble everything, I have to make sure that I am done with it like in a few hours, well, before the end of the day, let's say. Otherwise I can't really sit down and relax for a bit or anything because I don't have a working PC. Cannot play anything or check emails or whatever, you name it. So yeah, I am always limited in, for example here, I couldn't just be quite, oh yeah, I'll just leave it, I'll take it apart and put the cables neater, I'll just do it tomorrow over the next few days. Yeah, but then I won't have a working PC at all. And well, I usually am at my PC on my free time, so that's really not great. Not like I can't go without, but yeah, you know. And the other reason is, right now, because of me having this older motherboard, it's age 97 ASRock with 1150 socket. Because of me having this motherboard, and it has no RGB headers, which is also the reason why I do not have the LED strips yet. Because of that, I am forced to use 2 separate controllers that came included with the ring fans. And they are, well, they're under there, but yeah, it's 2 separate controllers which are reasonably bulky, and they are also pressuring this plate to go up a bit. And I already have a premium controller up there in the box, but it does not have a USB 2.0 connection like this one does. So I cannot even use it on this motherboard. It will have to wait until I upgrade. But yeah, that will significantly reduce the clutter that is under that piece of the fake bottom, and also let it fall down a little bit more so that it sits better in relation to the other pieces. The other factor is I have it actually quite neat. I have it screwed down here, and can you see it there? There, perhaps. And I actually took the screws out because I had a little bit of a panic moment. I thought I had poked the wire with a screw because I was booting the PC. It was booted for like 2 seconds, fan starts spinning, and it just turns off again. First thought, oh crap, I poked the wire, it's short-circuiting, the entire system's gonna die. Yeah, so I took off the glass again. And when I fidgeted around a bit, I touched the wiring of the power button, and as I touched it, without actually pressing the button, the PC started turning on and off again. And yeah, that pretty much told me that the problem was related to just the power button and not anything else. But before I saw that, I had already taken those screws off, and that piece of the yeah, that joint, let's call it, there between the two boards was already screwed up. Yeah, anyway, I went about my business, and I figured that the problem is that it has a 5 pin connection there, and the cable is made for the 19mm version of the button, which has bigger connectors and more space between them, and I have the 16mm version of the power button. So what happens is that the pins actually touch each other, and they were just shorting out a bit in the button itself. It was nothing to do with the system or the cables or anything. It was just literally that dumb button that has the pins too close to each other, and the cable is not meant for that button, sadly. Now, solution, very high tech, I know, isolation tape between each pin. So yeah, now they're actually not, well, they're touching each other, but there's tape in between isolating them, so it actually works properly. And it turns out that the button was already shorting out in the time that I had the desk running previously, but it was still working. Situation is that you can see the button is lit up now that the PC is on. If I turn the PC off, the button's light will go off, and if I have it on sleep mode, it will actually blink. Beforehand, the button was basically on 24/7, which I thought, oh, that's just how it works. No, it was just the button flipping out because of the contacts touching each other. Anyway, problem solved. If you get one of these buttons, they're called anti-vandalism buttons for some reason. If you get one of these, don't make the same mistake as I did. There's a little isolation cap that you can put around each pin. Get one of those. It's handier than having to duct tape it. It works, yeah. And you won't have this issue. So yeah, don't make my mistake. Anyway, when I finally fixed that and I had it working, I was just, oh god, it's late. I'm tired of this. I had put some paint, it's still slightly wet as you can see. I had put some paint there to, smooth out some spots that I scratched, let's say, while putting the bottom in. I am just going to close it up, it's working. I'll worry about making it a bit more perfect next time I open it to clean up and for maintenance. So yeah. But anyway, there's a lot less clutter, as you can see. And so for now, other than touching up those little spots there and making them a bit more even, because yeah, it was a bit more even, as you can see. I have this photo here that I took after I put it together, but before I tried to turn it on and the actual chaos with the button started. And as you can see, it looks a lot better and a lot less uneven. It actually joins together reasonably well. So yeah, well, I'll fix it up later. As you can see, it will be fine. So yeah, it is pretty much complete for now. There's not a whole lot more left that I can do before getting a general system upgrade, a new motherboard, CPU, RAM, you name it. Probably an M2 SSD to go with it. But I'm gonna wait a bit with that. And yeah, when that happens, I can have some LED strips around that, all around the back and side edges to make it a bit more flashy. I am thinking of some decals along the back wall or something, or along the bottom perhaps. And I've actually seen an interesting project with etched acrylic, which is, well, cheap and easy to work with, really. Etched acrylic with a little LED underneath, and that would light up the etched places. So that might be something interesting for when I have the LEDs there on top, to have a little piece of acrylic underneath with the LED shining on it from above, and it will probably give it a nice effect. It's not an idea that I'm playing with, but yeah, I definitely want to somewhat decorate the entire, well, not the entire thing, but I want to make it a bit, more interesting, the inside of the desk, as opposed to just empty black bottom, let's call it. And yeah, so yeah, as you can see, it is not perfect. I have made mistakes. But yeah, it's a learning process. It's my very first project, and hopefully not the last. I am thinking of perhaps seeing if, putting the net up and seeing if anyone would like me to work on a project for them, perhaps. Not so much, well, not that I'm gonna do it for free, but not so much to make money or something, but to keep busy, basically. Because I do like this, and it would be a shame if I didn't do anything of this sort anymore, because I mean, let's face it, I don't need another one for myself. I can make another one, perhaps, if my girlfriend wants me to, but other than that, yeah, I have no need for another one. I will perhaps replace my own in the future, a new wooden structure around it. I mean, it won't be super expensive to do, because honestly the expensive part of building a desk like this, in my case, it was the frame, the steel frame that was expensive, the glass is expensive, and the AIO and the fans were expensive because I did not have them beforehand. I had a normal crappy case with just normal air cooling and crappy fans, so I had to get it as well. So yeah, if I count just the wood, paint, screws, yeah, you can make the wood part for 100 euros or less easy. So yeah, I might make a new one in the future, avoiding the mistakes that I did now. I probably I'll do it from the get-go with the fake bottom in mind. So that will hopefully be a lot neater than now, where I had to cut into sections and crap. I will also perhaps not have that edge around there, which, while it is handy if you go for the lead strip around the edge thing, it does limit you a lot in terms of putting the bottom in, or at least I might make it smaller, because you can see it's quite big. This is about 3 centimeter or something width. I mean, you don't need that much. I could have put half of that easy. And yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed following this. I will definitely post updates whenever I do something new to it. But yeah, for now, this is about it. I am happy with the progress. I'm aware of the mistakes, but as I said, it is my first time, so considering that, quite happy, really. Could have gone a lot worse. I could have fried the components or something. I could have made some unstable piece of crap that would just fall over on its own weight. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I hope you guys have enjoyed following this small video series. I am open to any questions that anyone might have. As I said, first project, I'm not an expert, but I am more than willing to help anyone that is in a similar situation and that would like some ideas or advice, or how did you solve this problem, how did you go around to doing this or that. Doesn't mean it's the best way out there. I mean, trust me, there's way better people than me out there. But again, I'm open to all of that. I'm open to making new videos if people have questions about this or that. So yeah, just let me know, and I'll keep you guys posted.